Kathy Kress again, and I am back with my GCM YouTube channel, and we are in section 3 of Tools of a Geriatric Care Manager, and we have been using a family to teach you about how to use the tool of the whole family approach. And so we've had a client named Gertrude Sterling, and she is 84, and how are you going, what we left it at, that you were going to really assess the family with this whole family approach. So what do? You do what I've taught you before. If you go back through the YouTube channel, you do a psychosocial assessment. And what are the questions you want to ask to ferret out, get out, the whole family approach? Well, first of all, you're going to assess the family caregiver, and in this case, it is Jane. Jane is the only daughter. She has the only daughter syndrome. There's 2 boys and Jane. And you're going to assess the severity and the duration of the situation in history. Well, this has been going on for 10 years because the initial crisis was that the father died and the mother was widowed. It has gotten more severe since the mother, Gertrude, broke her hip 6 months ago. And I think in the previous ones I had 6 years. That was wrong. I'm like Rachel Maddow. What did I get wrong? I watched it. I got that wrong 6 months ago. Okay, so that's the history of what we're looking for. So now we want to figure out the level of stress for the family caregiver, and that's called strain and burden. And there's assessment tools to do that. There's a whole YouTube series within this Geriatric Care Management YouTube channel on assessing the caregiver. So you can go back and look at that to try to figure this out. And you're going to try to figure out what is the trigger that made them call you. And remember, you're Miss Full Charge. And remember, my dad named me that. And what made them make the call to you? Well, there were 2 triggers. First of all, the filial crisis, and the filial maturity is a very important geriatric term. I won't go into it, but you could look it up. And the trigger, first of all, was the dad died, and this started the whole caregiver's, stress and burden for this daughter, Jane. And then the mother had a hip replacement 6 months later. So what has the crisis wrought on the family? Well, the mother needs care. And Jane is, I said, hair on fire. She's so stressed that she, is throwing up her hands because she's an attorney, she has children, she has teenage girls, she's going crazy, she's thinking about placing her mother, and she's at the breaking point. So this is assessing the family caregiver. And in a psychosocial assessment, what you're going to do is you're going to look at past trauma. So what did I say in the last 2 episodes? Gertrude is Danish. The Germans occupied Denmark during the World War II. She fled. Her mother was shot by the Nazis. She fled with the Swedish underground in a boat at night, was snuck into Sweden. She was hidden in safe houses, met her husband who was a flyer, and there's been huge trauma around Gertrude's early life. So that's one. The sandwich generation issues, next thing that you look at. And Jane has sandwich generation issues because she's got Gertrude on one side and 2 teenage girls who have hormones thrusting through their body right now. Oh my God. She's caught. And that's sandwich generation. Religious and cultural issues are the next thing that you look at. We don't really have religious issues here, but we have a cultural issue, because the cultural issue in Danish society, as Gertrude knows it, is that there's always a designated daughter who doesn't get married, who takes care of the mother. That's the way the society worked. And generations before Gertrude leaving Denmark, this is what happened, and Gertrude was the designated daughter. So culturally, she expects her daughter to take care of her. You look at end-of-life issues, and again, we're looking at psychosocial issues. We don't really have an end-of-life issue yet here. You look at quality-of-life issues. Gertrude's quality of life is not great because she has ambulation issues. She really needs help around the house. And quality of life issues for the caregiver are not good either because she's going crazy. And relationship with money is the last thing, and this is really important because Gertrude does not want to pay for care. Why? Because she has a special needs son. That's number one, who she wants to leave, part of her estate to be able to take care of him for the rest of his life. And she wants her estate to be left to her children, who she dearly loves and has been a good mother. So she doesn't want to pay for care and have Jane do it, and Jane is in the sandwich generation. There we have the problem. So when you do the assessment, the first thing you do, you figure out who's the family unit and the degree of involvement of each person. So we know there's two sons, one a Wells Fargo banker that deals with wealthy clients, and the other a boy, a young man who has special needs. And then you run into the daughter. So there's three of them. The degree of involvement is the two boys, the two men, don't have a great deal of involvement, although they really do call and take, they pay attention to their mom. But who's the caregiver? It's Jane, the attorney. Special needs is another thing we look at, and Michael has special needs. He lives in a group home, he works at McDonald's, and that's fine for him. Calls his mother every day, but the issue of money has to do primarily with Michael because the mother knows she needs to take care of him after her death. And then you assess caregiver strain. And that's basically the ability to provide physical care. Well, Jane can do it, but, she's strong enough. She can, pick up clients, etc. But, she's an attorney and has these two girls with all this adrenaline and hormones. And then you look at mental health. Well, caregiver strain is really putting the dutiful daughter Jane over the edge. And then you have health literacy. And you look at that. Jane is health literate. She's an attorney. She's a very bright woman, but she is experiencing caregiver strain. So we're going to stop there. I will see you next time. You can check all this out at my website, kathycrest.com, and my YouTube, which is Geriatric Care 1. And I'll see you next time.